Shonali, how was the entire Pariksha Pe Charcha experience with the Prime Minister? Of course, you know that this is the 8th edition, and there are certain interesting tips that have been shared by people like you.
So, the Prime Minister has written a kind of like a little booklet for these kids, and he's got these many points. Like one of them is be your own anchor, and one of them is be a warrior, not a warrior. So, we try to look at those points and then feed in our nutritional tips accordingly. So the first one is be your own anchor. So what I weaved it in was with what do you eat to be your own anchor? What is it that you can put your raise your foundation high and kind of keep it strong, and what do you eat to do that? And then I said, if you eat a millet in the morning, then there's a good chance that you'll be your own anchor because you get sustained sugars from millets, and it kind of sets the foundation for the day. So tips like these, I wove it into those little, those pointers that he had.
Okay, your focus has been on a healthier lifestyle, stronger immunity and mental well-being, particularly at a time when students are preparing for boards and other entrance examination. Do you think it only gets tougher for them? And how do these tips really help them?
See, the thing is, I think the biggest culprit that's facing these kids, because they try to push themselves by keeping themselves awake at night and not listening to their body and not sleeping on time and then cramming in the night with a depletion in energy, and then they are reaching out for the wrong things, like the biggest thing being sugar and sugary drinks, or coffees and teas to keep themselves up, which anyway overstimulates the system. So we were trying to tell them that, listen, if you eat, cut back your sugars in coming from everything. And if you eat a whole grain based diet with, your normal ghar ka khana, make it interesting enough. And then you sleep during the night, but you keep awake studying during the day and eat at meal times, you're more likely to have sustained energy going forward. But if you're going to go the way they go, which they normally do, then of course there's going to be a depletion, lack of concentration and all that going on. So that's the kind of information we were passing on to them, that how do you turn it around for yourselves rather than, staying in the whole rut of, keeping awake and cramming and then eating the wrong foods.
Yes.
Because somewhere that cycle's got to break, right? So
Absolutely.
we're trying to help them break that cycle.
Yeah, it's a vicious cycle one gets into. But Shonali, when you were approached by the government to record a show of this nature, what came to your mind? And also tell me about your own childhood, your own exams. How did you cope up with those?
No, I wasn't a very healthy eater. That came up actually. The moderator asked us that question. That was the first question. How did you eat when you were kids? And because I came from a family which was, my dad was with the airlines, we kind of got everything in the house. Chocolates came in and cheese came in, and there was a lot of sugar and dairy and a lot of junk food that did come in. So I didn't have it actually made me have a very weak digestion, and that's how I came to do what I'm doing right now. So it unraveled in that way. It was really nice to be approached by the Prime Minister's office, of course. It was quite a shock for me because one keeps just doing the work and helping people. I'm in the business of lifestyle diseases. And I didn't know that, he would be paying attention, or the office would be paying attention to what I do. But having said that, I'm on the board of Ecole Mondiale, and there's a lot of work that we're doing in turning around their canteen and, making introductions to their menu, keeping a sugar-free canteen, keeping as much as possible nut-free, dairy-free canteen so that the kids are getting healthier options. So there's a lot of school work that I've been focusing on and doing, talks to students and stuff like that. So yeah, my childhood wasn't the healthiest, but it brought me to where I am. I got into this profession because of, certain issues that I had and certain issues that my dad had. And yeah, it was great to be approached by the Prime Minister's office.
Were you a child then who would stress about exams?
Not really, to be honest with you, because I was a pretty methodical thinker, and I remember studying for my 10th, 12th, and my finals, and I remember that I thought things out pretty well. and I'm not one of those who can cram at night. So I won't be up late at night cramming. I'd always study during the day and, sleep at night.
And any
So I
interest?
was stressed, yes, maybe because of the exams, and you do get dreams about not remembering things at your examination time and stuff. But I don't remember being terribly stressed out, that I drew a blank at exams or anything. No.
And any
I know it
interest?
sounds perfect, but I remember myself
Okay.
being like that.
Okay. Any interesting conversation you remember from your episode? Any interesting question that you were asked by the students?
I think the kids asked really, there were kids in the audience. It was a panel discussion. So they asked very interesting questions. I think one of the questions that really got me moving was the fact that even though they are in hostels, sometimes they don't get the best quality of food. And then they are reaching out for packaged and processed foods, which to me was, a little bit of an eye opener, because I feel like you could do a lot of work in the canteens of schools and keep them healthy. And they said that, regardless of how much they try, the canteen food is not interesting. So they reach for, the junk and what's the option. And there, then the thing is, you have no choice but to give them options which are healthier, right? So one was trying to help them out with healthier options, because there are companies now that are doing really good work, But again, then when they are eating out, they're eating processed foods which are in a box with additives and preservatives and things like that. Not the greatest. So that was an eye opener for me. That was an interesting thing to find out, that the canteens need a lot of work. And then we had a conversation after that. I spoke with someone from the education ministry, where we said, that little work has to be done in this area, where, we help children living in boarding schools with, a hostel-like situation where the canteens need to be looked at.
All right, Shonali, I appreciate your time. Thank you for speaking to NDTV.